The fisherman and his soul. The young fisherman went out in his boat every evening, and threw his nets into the water. When the wind blew away from the land he caught nothing or very little, and blue wolves met him as he came back. But, when the wind blew to the land, the fish came in from the deep sea and went into his nets, and he took them and sold them in the town. One evening the net was so heavy that he could hardly pull it up into the boat. He rowed and said, "Perhaps I have caught all the fish in the sea. Or perhaps I have caught some strange and fearful thing which men will want to see and pay money to see it." He pulled and pulled, the net came nearer and nearer to the boat. At last it came to the top of the water. There were no fish in it. There was no strange or fearful thing, but only a mermaid lying asleep. Her hair was like gold, each hair was like a thread of gold. Her body was silver and pearl. She was so beautiful that the young fisherman was filled with wonder. He took her up in his arms. When he touched her she gave a cry of fear. She opened her eyes, which were of the deepest blue, and tried to escape, but he held her and would not let her go. When she saw that she could not escape, she began to weep. "Please, please let me go," she said. "I am the daughter of the king of the sea, his only daughter. He has only me and he is very old and alone." The young fisherman answered, "I'll let you go only if you make a promise. Promise me that, whenever I call you, you will come and sing to me." The fish loved to listen to the song of the people of the sea. "So they will come into my nets and my nets will be full. Will you really let me go if I promise that?" cried the mermaid. "Yes, I will let you go," said the young fisherman. So she made the promise. He opened his arms and she went down into the water. The young fisherman went out in his boat every evening. He called to the mermaid, and she came up out of the water and sang to him. She sang to him about the people of the sea as they moved from cave to cave carrying their young ones with them. She sang about the palace of the king with its roof of clear blue jewels and its floor of pearl. She sang about the gardens of the sea where the sea plants wave in the water and bright sea flowers grow on the rocks, and the fish are like birds moving among them. And, as she sang, the big fish came in from the deep sea to listen to her, and the young fisherman threw his nets round them and caught them. When his boat was full, the mermaid went down into the sea. The mermaid never came near him so that he could touch her. He tried to catch her, but she went down into the water and he did not see her again that day. Each day the sound of her voice became sweeter in his ears. It became so sweet that he forgot his nets and took no care of his boat. The fish went by but he took no notice of them. He sat in his boat and listened. He listened as darkness came round him and the moonlight was like silver on his brown arms. One evening he called to her, "Little mermaid, little mermaid, I love. Take me for your husband, because I love." But the mermaid answered, "No. You have sold the soul of man, which God has given you, If who can send away your soul, I shall do. The young fisherman said, what use is my soul to me? Can't he see it? Can't he touch it? Certainly I will send it away. He gave a cry of joy and held out his arms. I'll send my soul away and you shall be my wife and we will live together in the deepest part of the sea. And you will show me all the wonderful things that you sang about. The little mermaid rode with pleasure and hid her face in her hands. But how shall I send my soul away? Cried the fisherman. Tell me how I can do it, and it shall be done. I don't know, said the little mermaid. The people of the sea have no souls. She went down into the sea looking sadly at him. Early the next morning when the sun was just rising behind the hills, the young fisherman went to the priest's house and called. Come in, said the priest. Father, said the young fisherman, I am in love with one of the people of the sea, but because of my soul, I can't marry her. Tell me how I can send my soul away from me, because I don't need it. What use is my soul to me? Can't he see it? Can't he touch it? Why don't he know it? The priest answered, foolish man. The soul was given to us by God. There is nothing on earth which is worth more to you than your soul. It is worth all the gold and jewels of the kings. It is a fearful thing to lose your soul. As for the people of the sea, they are lost, they have no souls. They are like beasts which do not know right from wrong. There is no life after death for them, no heaven. Father, said the young fisherman, once in my net I caught the daughter of the king of the sea. She is more beautiful than the morning star, and whiter than the moon. For her body I would give my soul. For her love I would give my hope of heaven. Tell me what I ask and let me go in peace. Away, away, cried the priest, and he drove him away from the door. The young fisherman went into the city. When the merchants saw him coming, they called to him and said, what have you got to sell? I will sell my soul. What use is it to me? The merchants roared at him. What use is it to us? It isn't worth a penny. Sell us your body to be a slave, but don't talk about your soul. It is worth nothing to us. The young fisherman thought, this is very strange. The priest tells me that the soul is worth all the gold in the world. But the merchants say that it isn't worth a penny. He went out of the city and came down to the seashore and began to wonder what he should do. At midday he remembered one of his friends who had told him about Evie. He ran along the sand and came to the cave in which she lived. Her magic told her that he was coming and she rose and let down her red hair and stood at the opening of her cave. What do you want? She cried as he came running towards her. I can give you anything you want, but everything has its price. I want only a little thing, said the young fisherman, but the priest was angry when I asked him for it and drove me away. It's only a little thing that I want, but the merchant roared at me. So I have come to, although men say that you are bad. Whatever your price is, I will pay. What do you want? Said the witch, coming near to him. I want to send my soul away from me, answered the young fisherman. The witch hid her face. Pretty book, she said. That is a fearful thing to do. He glowered. My soul is no use to me, he answered. Can't he see it? Can't he touch it? Why don't he know it? What will you give me if I tell you? Asked the witch, looking down at him with her beautiful eyes. 5 pieces of gold, and my nets, and the house that I live in, and the boat that I sail. Only tell me how to lose my soul and I'll give you all that I have. She looked. Indeed, witch, so I can have all the gold and silver that I want. I serve one who is richer than all the kings of this world. What then shall I give you? What shall I do? She put her thin white hand on his head and she smiled at him as she spoke. Must dance with me, pretty boy, she said. Only that. Nothing but that, cried the young man. Fisher, only that, she answered, and she smiled at him again. Then at sunset in some secret place we shall dance together, he said, and after we have danced, who will tell me the thing that I wish to know? No, she said, not at sunset, but when the moon is full. Tonight you must come to the top of the mountain. It is the witch's meeting place. And he will be there. Is he? Asked the young fisherman. Who is this person of whom you speak? Go tonight, and stand near the tree on the top of the mountain and wait for me. When the moon is full I will be with you and we'll dance together on the grass. But will you promise to tell me how I may send my soul away from me? She moved out into the sunlight and it shone on her red hair. I promise, she answered. You are the best of witches, cried the young fisherman, and I'll dance with you tonight on the top of the mountain. He took off his cap and bowed to her. Then he ran back to the town filled with joy. The witch watched him as he went. Then she went into her cave. She looked at herself in her mirror. He ought to have been mine, she said. I am as beautiful as she. That evening when the moon had risen, the young fisherman climbed to the top of the mountain and stood under the branches of the tree. The sea lay far down below, bright in the moonlight, and the shadows of the fishing boats moved in the little bay. At midnight the witches came flying through the air. Who, they said, as they came down to the ground. What is this smell? We smell someone here that we do not know. The young witch came last to hold. Her long red hair flowed out behind her. Then she came down to the ground. She wore a dress of gold and a little green cap. Where is he? Where is he? Cried the witches when they saw her. She rose and ran to the tree and took the fisherman by the hand. She led him out into the moonlight and began to dance. They danced round and round, and the young witch jumped so high that he could see her red shoes. Then there was the sound of a horse. But no horse could be seen. He felt afraid. Faster, faster, cried the witch. She put her arms round his neck. Some fearful thing was walking him. Then, under the shadow of the rock, he saw someone who had not been there before. It was a man dressed in black. His face was white, but his mouth was like a red flower. His hands were white and heavy with jeweled rings. On the grass beside him there was a hat with a long feather. The young fisherman watched him. At last their eyes met, and wherever he danced the eyes of the man followed him. Suddenly the dancers stopped. They went two by two and kissed the man's hands. He smiled proudly, but he kept looking at the fisherman. Now, let us go to him, said the witch, and she led him up. He felt a strong wish to obey, and he followed her. He came close to the man. Without knowing why he did it, he called out the name of God. Then all the witches cried out and flew away. The man closed his eyes in pain. Then he went over to a group of trees and called. A horse came running to meet him. As he jumped up onto it, he turned round and looked at the fisherman sadly. The witch with the red hair tried to fly away too, but the fisherman caught her arm and held her. Let me go, she cried. Who have said a name which should not be named? He answered. Won't let you go till you have told me the secret. What secret? Said the witch, fighting like a wild cat to free herself. No, he answered. Her green eyes became dim with tears. Ask me anything except that. He rose and held her more strongly. When she saw that she could not free herself, she said, Sir, I am as beautiful as the daughter of the sea, and she put her face close to his. He pushed her away. If you don't keep your promise, I'll kill you. Her face was grey. All right, she said. It is your soul, not mine. Do with it as you wish. She took out a little knife in a case made of green snake skin. What men call the shadow of the body is not the shadow of the body. It is the body of the soul. Stand on the shore with your back to the moon. Cut your shadow away from your feet and order your soul to live, and it will do so. He took the knife. Then he went to the edge of the mountain and began to climb down. His soul inside him called out to him, I have lived with you for all these years and have been your servant. Don't send me away from you now. What wrong have I done? The young fisherman roared, You have done me no wrong, but I don't need you. Go wherever you wish, but don't trouble me. My love is calling to me. The fisherman stood on the sand with his back to the moon. His shadow lay in front of him. His soul said, If you must drive me away from you, don't send me away without a heart. There is no love nor kindness in the world. Give me your heart to take with me. What should I love my love with, if I give you my heart? He cried. Give me your heart, said his soul, for the world is very hard, and I am afraid. My heart is my love, yes, he answered. So do not wait, but go. Should I not love to? Asked his soul. No, don't need you, cried the young fisherman. And he took the little knife out of its case of snakeskin and cut away the shadow from round his feet. It rose up and stood in front of him, and looked at him, and it was just like himself. He drew back and put away the knife. He was afraid, he said, and never let me see your face again. We must meet again, said the soul. Its voice was very quiet. How shall we meet? Cried the young fisherman. Will you follow me into the deepest part of the sea? Once every year I'll come to this place and call to, said the soul. Perhaps you may need me. Why should I need you? Cried the young fisherman. But you are too light. Then he jumped into the sea, and the little mermaid rose up to meet him, and put her arms round his neck and kissed him. The soul stood close on the shore and watched them. When they had gone down into the sea, it went away weeping. When 1 year had passed, the soul came down to the shore and called to the young fisherman, and he came out of the sea and said, Why do you call to me? The soul answered, Come near so that I may speak to you, because I have seen wonderful things. So the fisherman came near and listened. The soul said to him, When I left you, I traveled to the east. From the east comes everything that is wise. From the east comes all wisdom. I came at last to a city. I wandered through its streets and came to the garden of its god. Priests moved silently among the trees. In the garden there was a rose-red house in which the god lived. One of the priests came to me and asked me, What is your wish? I said, I wish to see the god. Then he led me into the house. There was no god there, but only a mirror made of metal set on a table made of stone. I said to the priest, Where is the god? He said, There is no god, but this mirror is the mirror of wisdom. It shows everything in heaven and on earth. Those who have this mirror know everything. Nothing is hidden from them. I stole the mirror and I have hidden it in a place only 1 day's journey from here. Let me enter into you again and be your servant, and you shall be wiser than all the wise men. The young fisherman, Lord, love is better than wisdom, he cried, and the little mermaid loves me. He went back into the sea, and the soul went away weeping. After the 2nd year, the soul came down to the shore and called to the young fisherman. The fisherman rose up out of the sea and said, Why do you call to me? The soul answered, Come near so that I may speak to you, because I have seen wonderful things. When I left you, I journeyed to the south. All gold and jewels, all riches come from the south. I journeyed for many days and came to the city of Ashta. The king of that city has a ring on his finger, it is the ring of riches. He who has that ring is richer than all the kings of the world. I went into the king's palace. The soldiers struck at me, but they could not hurt me. The king said, Who are you? Why can't he be hurt too? Please leave my city tonight, because while you are here I am no longer its lord. I answered, I will go if you will give me what I ask. He said, I will give you half of my riches. I said, Give me the ring that is on your finger. Then the soul said to the fisherman, I have hidden the ring of riches in a cave only one day's journey from here. Come with me and take it, and you will be richer than all the kings of this world. The young fisherman roared, Love is better than riches, he cried, and the little mermaid loves me. He went back into the sea, and the soul went away weeping. At the end of the third year the soul came down to the shore and called to the fisherman, and he rose up out of the sea. The soul said, Come nearer, so that I may speak to you. Because I have seen wonderful things. On my journeys I came to a city in which there is a house near the river. Seamen come to that house to drink wine. As I sat there, an old man came in and played music, and a girl came and danced. Her face was covered so that I could not see it, but her white feet moved like little birds. They hardly seemed to touch the ground. I have never seen such beautiful feet, or such wonderful dancing. It is only a few days' journey from this place. The young fisherman remembered that the little mermaid had no feet and could not dance, and he said, It is only a short journey and then I can return to my love. He rowed and went up onto the shore. He held out his arms to his soul. The soul gave a great cry of joy and entered into him. They traveled all that night and came to a city. They went into the city. As they passed along the street of the jewelers, the young fisherman saw a fine silver cup. The soul said to him, Take that cup and hide it. So he took the cup and they went quickly out of the city. After they had gone some way, the young fisherman threw the cup away. He said to his soul, Why did you tell me to take that cup? It was an evil thing to do. But his soul answered, It doesn't matter. On the evening of the second day they came to another city. As they passed along the street, the young fisherman saw a child standing with a pot of water, and his soul said to him, Strike that child. So he hit the child, and it wept. Then they went quickly out of the city. After they had gone a short way, the young fisherman became angry. Why did you tell me to strike the child? That was an evil thing to do. But his soul answered, It doesn't matter. Late on the evening of the third day they came to another city. The young fisherman sat down and rested. After a time a merchant came by. He said, Why are you sitting here in the street? The young fisherman said, I don't know any place in this city where I may sleep. I haven't any friends here who would take me in. The merchant said, Aren't we all brothers? Did one God make us all? Come with me to my house. So the young fisherman went and slept at the merchant's house. 3 hours before sunrise, while it was still dark, his soul woke him and said, Go to the merchant's room. Kill him and take his gold. We need it. There was a knife lying near the merchant, and by the side of his bed there were 3 bags of gold. The young fisherman put out his hand and touched the knife. The merchant awoke and said, Do return evil for good and pay with blood for the kindness I have shown you. The soul said, Strike him. He struck him and took the bags of gold. When they had gone some distance from the city, the young fisherman said, Why did you tell me to kill the merchant and take his gold? Oh, evil. The soul answered, It doesn't matter. Cried the young fisherman. It does matter. You have made me do evil things. Why have you done this to me? His soul answered, When you sent me out into the world, Did he give me a heart, so I learned to do all these things? The young fisherman said, "O evil, who have made me forget my love and led me into evil ways?" He threw the bags of gold away. "Won't he travel with you anymore? As I sent you away before, so I'll send you away now." He turned his back to the moon, and with the little knife he tried to cut away that shadow of the body which is the soul. But the soul said, "A man may send his soul away once in his life, but a man who receives his soul back must keep it with him forever." The young fisherman said, "I'll go back to the little bay where the mermaid used to sing. I'll call to her and tell her of the evil that I have done." His soul said, "The world has many women who are more beautiful than she is. They are the dancing girls of Samaris. They low while they dance and their laughter is as clear as the laughter of water. Don't trouble yourself anymore, but come with me to that city." The young fisherman did not answer, but journeyed back to the little bay where his loved one used to sing. When he came there he called to the little mermaid, but she did not come. His soul said, "Aren't you getting much pleasure out of your love? Come with me because I know where the land of pleasure is, and what things are done there." The young fisherman did not answer. He built a hut among the rocks and he called to the mermaid every day and every night, but she never rose up out of the sea to meet him. When a year had passed, his soul thought, "I have offered evil things, but the power of his love was too great. Now I'll offer good things and perhaps he'll come with me." So the soul said, "I have told you of the joy of the world, but you wouldn't listen. Now I'll tell you of the world's pain. I'll tell you about those who have no food, about men dying of sickness. Let us go and help these people. Let us go and help the poor, the sick, the unhappy." But the young fisherman did not answer. When the second year had passed, the soul said, "I have offered you evil, and I have offered you good as well. But your love is stronger than I am. Let me come into your heart so that I may be one with you as I was before." "Certainly you may enter," said the young fisherman. "When you went through the world with no heart, must have suffered greatly. I can't find any way into your heart," said his soul. "There is no place where I may enter, because your heart is so full of love." "I wish I could help you," said the young fisherman. As he spoke, there came a great sound of weeping from the sea, the cry that men hear when one of the people of the sea is dead. The young fisherman left his hut and ran down to the shore. The black wolves came hurrying into the shore, bringing with them something which was whiter than silver. They brought it to the shore. The young fisherman saw the body of the little mermaid lying at his feet, lying dead at his feet. He threw himself down beside it. He kissed the cold red mouth. He held it in his brown arms. He kissed the closed eyes. He put the little hands round his neck. The Black Sea came nearer. From the palace of the Sea King came the sound of weeping. "The sea is coming nearer," said his soul. "If you wait, it will kill you. Come to a safe place." But the young fisherman did not listen to his soul. He said to the little mermaid, "Love is better than wisdom. Love is worth more than riches. It is more beautiful than the feet of the daughters of men. I called you at sunrise and you didn't come. The moon heard me call your name, but you didn't listen to me. It was evil and I had left you and wandered away, yet my love stayed with me always and was always strong. Nothing had power against it. Now that you are dead, I will die with you. His soul prayed him to come away, but he would not. His love was so great. The sea came near and tried to cover him with its waves. When he knew that the end was near, he kissed the cold face of the mermaid, and his heart broke. His heart was broken, and his soul found their way into it, and was one with him as before. And the sea covered the young fisherman with its waves. In the morning the priest went down to bless the sea, for it had been troubled by the storm. When he reached the shore, he saw the young fisherman lying dead on the sand, and in his arms was the body of the little mermaid.